more than
Hello
100
and welcome to my channel, Lifestyle and Fashion Tea. Is this what democracy looks like? Do we want Trump to be impeached? Do we want Elon Musk to just go home? What is it that we really want?
At this protest on the steps outside
Let's
the
take a
Santa Barbara
look.
County Administration Building. The rally was organized by the Women's March of Santa Barbara and the 50-51 Movement Coalition. Organizers say similar rallies were taking place in Carpinteria and Ojai. Our community reporter Lindsay Hyatt stopped by another protest in Paso Robles. She joins us now with more.
Their dissatisfaction with President Donald Trump. 300 activists of varying ages and backgrounds lined Spring Street this President's Day, standing up against the president and his administration.
I think that when we do these kind of protests, it shows our strength as a nation, and we'll also encourage our members of Congress to stand up and hold Trump accountable.
Attendees spoke out against President Trump's immigration policies, exclusionary beliefs, and recent massive layoffs on the federal level.
Concerned about the new president taking a hacksaw and not using a scalpel to be careful of the cuts that he and his assistant are making.
Carolyn Vergoda shared that she isn't against the president, but rather his recent actions since taking office.
I want him to succeed, but I think he's taking a sledgehammer to fix the problem.
Others, like Jean Surge, came out to make her beliefs known about issues she says are impacting people locally.
I'm a retired teacher, and I've had so many wonderful students in my classroom, and I know immigrants make America great.
Monday's protest in Paso Robles was just one of multiple in the county and many others across the country. The date selected was no coincidence.
People are available. They're not at work, right? So we have the ability to come together and to see each other's faces and our agony and seeing what's happening to our country.
Bayro says the protests were in response to President Trump's actions, not anyone before him.
The past presidents had to work really hard to make our nation, and I think they would all be appalled to see that this one person is out there acting like a dictator and letting the billionaires control his conduct.
Vergoda says she hopes their protest inspires change within the government.
To give people hope, we can change the course of things.
In Paso Robles, Lindsay Hyatt, KSBY News.
Another protest in San Luis Obispo caused backup for drivers headed northbound on Highway 101. Here's a look at what we captured on our sky cam around 1 this afternoon. Dozens of protesters were holding signs on the Los Osos Valley Road Highway 101 overpass.
President's Day was anything but a quiet holiday. Here in Hartford, hundreds came out to protest. Their anger is directed at President Trump and Elon Musk, who they say are dismantling our government and are making people everywhere live in fear.
He's not my president because he pushes out negative images and connotations of all kinds of people, such as like immigrants and minorities, when at the end of the day we should be focused on being united rather than dividing people.
Just the sheer amount of scrutiny we face in our everyday lives just for existing is unfathomable.
Many carried signs saying resist Trump and no one is above the law. In New Haven, the steps of City Hall were filled with more protesters. Some have concerns about Social Security, our democracy, and equality.
A lot of people are frustrated, but also feeling kind of helpless, I think. They don't really know where to go because there's so many different attacks coming from so many different angles.
And here on Main Street in Old Saybrook, more came out on this day shouting, "This is not my president." But among the crowd was a man on the other side, carrying a Trump flag. These people, however, feel helpless, but together they feel they have a voice.
I'm glad to be here, part of the people that are letting the rest of the country know that we don't want this.
A rallying cry.
Hey, hey, mister, mister, keep your arms on my sister.
condemning the Trump administration's policies and actions like spending cuts and layoffs coming from the Department of Government Efficiency led by Elon Musk.
I just don't think that somebody who isn't even eligible to be an elected official in our government should be rampantly running behind the scenes, taking control of everything.
People holding up signs and marching down across Congress Avenue, making their message heard.
One of my biggest fears is that we're entering territory that feels very much like Trump has made himself king, that he doesn't have to report to anybody.
The protest, part of a nationwide day of action by the 50-51 movement, which stands for 50 protests, 50 states, 1 day. The group also condemns the conservative transition project known as Project 2025. Trump hasn't officially confirmed if he is following Project 2025, although many of his directives are in line with points from the project.
The other biggest concern is the Republican Congress.
They're not doing anything.
It's not doing anything. They are supposed to be the brakes. They are supposed to be the purse, the power that holds them back. And they've just opened the floodgates.
Which is why these protesters say they'll keep chanting to make their voices heard.
In Media, Delaware County, the crowd arriving with signs critical of President Trump, Elon Musk, and the new administration.
I took a burned vacation day to do this.
Claire Holroyd here from Bryn Mawr.
I'm here because it's President's Day and not King's Day, and I want to remind everyone that that is the case. I feel like we have a government takeover, and our rights and the laws are just being completely ignored.
This protest, one of a series of demonstrations around the region and the country. Here, people gathering in Bucks County, and in Center City, they walked from City Hall to the Art Museum holding signs.
The only thing we can do is to come together as many communities and finally as one community.
Charles, who asks we only use his first name, is a father, husband, and disabled veteran. He says he never thought he would find himself in the situation he is now.
Basically, I got fired because OPM coded me incorrectly in an algorithm.
Charles was not a probationary employee, meaning working for the federal government for 2 years or less. Up until Friday, he worked for the Department of Veteran Affairs for 10 years. Then he was cut from the agency.
Doge is basically calling the shots and not the VA.
I just woke up on Friday, locked out of all of my systems, and found out that I had been illegally fired.
Grant, who also didn't want us to give his last name, says that despite being a high performer with positive reviews, he also got fired. He used to work for the Department of Energy.
Basically, in the letter, it just said it would be in the public interest to terminate your service.
Both former federal employees found themselves Monday afternoon protesting at the No Kings on President's Day rally. Both joined hundreds of others near the U.S. Capitol. Their message? Opposition to the Trump administration's efforts to downsize the federal government in the name of cost savings.
I don't know anyone who doesn't believe in reform, whether it's international development, whether it's civil service, whether it's government. But the way it's being done is chaotic and it's cruel.
Elon Musk has got to go.
Protesters questioned the legality of the cuts being made by the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, run by tech billionaire Elon Musk.
I teach a class and I have a lot of students with IEPs, so special education students, and the funding for that relies on the Department of Education.
Sydney says she's concerned about what a possible elimination of the U.S. Department of Education could mean for her students, and she's not alone.
Where all of us need to understand, it might not be happening to you now, it might not be impacting you now, you might not be a migrant, an immigrant, but it's coming to you next.
300 people gathered at the Wisconsin State Capitol protesting what they believe to be injustices done by President Donald Trump, his administration, and ally Elon Musk.
The injury that is being done by Musk and Trump and his whole squad are so extraordinary and so unprecedented. So for those of us who have children, I do, it's a concern for the next generation as well.
This is a part of a nationwide protest titled the Not My President protest. However, here in southern Wisconsin, we are facing temps below zero.
Our earth in Wisconsin needs the cold and the snow. So be happy in this weather we have today.
I had the chance to speak with one Madison resident on why such a large turnout happened despite the cold temps.
Well, here to support everybody in the U.S. and see what we can do. We want to keep the democracy, the freedom, and to make it right again.
Now, this is the fourth Trump-related protest in our state's capital since Trump took office.
What do we do? Stand up, fight back! This President's Day, hundreds of people gathered on the steps of the Georgia state capitol, speaking out against President Donald Trump and his administration.
I'm going to fight with everything in me to make sure that they continue to live in a democracy.
Since January 20th, the Trump administration has begun mass deportations of undocumented migrants, signed an executive order banning transgender athletes from women's sports, and terminated DEI preferencing within the federal government. While many Americans agree with these policies, others fear them.
Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
I don't feel like they're actually looking to improve anything. They're just looking to kind of take over and gain power and bleed us dry financially.
Demonstrators also popping up at a Tesla dealership in DeKalb County Monday, protesting CEO Elon Musk's recent involvement in the U.S. government. President Trump recently appointing Musk to lead the Department of Government Efficiency aimed at reducing federal spending.
Elon Musk taking over the presidency and making rules for our country. You have to stand up, and if you don't stand up, then you deserve what you get.
Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. You fascist down the loose.
Now, those who brave the frigid temperatures here in New York City wanted to highlight a long list of what many call anti-democratic and illegal actions of the Trump administration. Several hundred people first met up again in Union Square at about 1 this afternoon. Very vocal yet peaceful. The NYPD monitored things, and at last check, there were no problems. The large crowd then headed south on Fifth Avenue, ending up in Washington Square Park. These mass gatherings in cities all across the nation come on the heels of President Trump signing a series of executive orders, which critics are confident will ultimately be struck down in court. They also take great issue with the role billionaire Elon Musk is playing so far in guiding and advising this administration. This gathering here specifically planned today on President's Day, the first of many actions that folks hope will change the landscape of this country.
Do you think events like this do make a difference?
I'm old enough, and you're not, to remember the civil rights marches in the 1960s, where up until 1965, black voters in Mississippi and Alabama could not vote without being killed. Yes, these things do make a difference. I also remember the Vietnam demonstrations. I believe these demonstrations are in the American spirit.
The administration issued an executive order that said it was going to be a 90-day pause on all USAID projects, but it's really just been a cut on projects. Projects don't know when they're starting, and as a result, there's HIV medicine in warehouses that is not getting distributed. There's food from U.S. farmers that is not getting distributed as vital humanitarian aid around the world, so very concerning.
They wanted to join others nationally in speaking out against President Donald Trump, but not everyone here who stopped by shared that same message. Take a look.
You can leave. If you don't like America, you can leave.
Lines of Trump supporters with flags behind their cars circled the Capitol.
We will rise!
Protesters on the steps chanted a different message.
No party, no dictator will ever rule over us.
Hundreds of people voicing their frustration.
I'm surprised it's not more, but I don't know.
I feel like there's a growing concern, growing anger in the population, and I think a lot of people are here to express that today.
We need a voice. We need to talk about how we are resisting the inhumane policies that Trump is enacting.
Hallelujah, I shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved. Okay, here you go.
In song, people voiced their message on Logan Main Street. Others gave speeches.
Donald Trump's aggressive immigration policies, including mass deportations and increased enforcement actions, are poised to have detrimental effects on the U.S. economy.
This is National Protest Day for whatever you choose to protest
related to the current administration?
The issue of immigration brings me out specifically. I'm the daughter of immigrants, and so coming from a society in which, especially from northern Utah, where you always feel like you're being watched, everything you do isn't enough for our community, and to put a voice to it, and to say something that we are here, and that we are more than what everybody puts us to be.
Outside the Arizona State Capitol in downtown Phoenix.
Here comes America! Here comes America!
Close to 1,000 people arrived with a message.
Liberty and justice for all!
I have 2 kids in their 20s, and I want them to have the same freedom that I had growing up in this country.
One of several across the country, the protest is a response to what demonstrators describe as the anti-democratic actions of President Trump and his administration.
I'm George Washington, who said famously, no kings.
Protesters criticized President Trump's stance on immigration.
Right now, we are seeing a lot of fear in our communities. It's about humanity. Where did we lose our humanity?
And decried Elon Musk, leader of the new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. While Republicans say DOGE is directed towards slashing wasteful government spending, demonstrators argue it's hurting Americans who rely upon these programs.
He's ignoring our laws. He's dismantling things that he should not be touching.
Deport Musk! Deport Musk!
Many made and carried signs.
No attention to the man behind the curtain, but I crossed that out and put The Apprentice.
Brought sculptures.
Our Statue of Liberty and the democracy and inviting immigrants and all that, it's out of order.
And chanted to lawmakers. But in a statement to Fox 10 News, the Arizona Republican Majority Caucus defended the president, stating Arizonans have made it clear they are fed up with the reckless open border policies pushed by Democrats and their protest-driven allies. Speaker Montenegro and House Republicans stand unequivocally with President Trump in his commitment to securing the border and enforcing.
People united for a single cause to effect change. Organizers say this is what democracy looks like.
We are witnessing an effort to replace our democracy with an autocracy. And so I have one question for all of you.
Elon fueling an already energized crowd of several hundred.
We are in a constitutional crisis. Congress needs to do their jobs. And the people are speaking, and we have the power, and we can take that power back.
We filed legislation to protect those federal workers.
3rd District Congresswoman Sarah Elfreth summed up the concern, recalling a question asked to Benjamin Franklin about what kind of government the new Constitution would create.
And you know the answer. He said, a republic, if you can keep it.
The protest follows a series of President Trump's executive orders. This includes actions led by billionaire Elon Musk to purge the federal workforce. Many federal workers feel demonized and bullied.
And I have decided to take a government job because that was my dream, to serve the public and have a mission every day.
It's important for our society that we take part in our government, and this is how we do it, through the vote, through our wallet, and through our actions.
This is what democracy looks like.
A call to action also drew nearly 100 people to Baltimore City Hall Monday.
400 marched the State House protesting Trump policies, including the selection of billionaire Elon Musk to slash federal spending and the elimination of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs.
I do not recognize this as my country anymore. We're losing compassion for humanity. We're losing our rights, definitely, as women. I think we've lost that whole sense of integrity.
He says America first, but he's not putting America first. He's doing all the other things.
Columbus joining cities across the country like Washington, D.C. in the day-long protest. Veteran Jerry Beck drove to Columbus from Sandusky, fearful badly needed veteran services will be cut.
There's some veteran groups that I'm a part of that are talking about becoming expatriates and moving to other lands because of this, and that's terrifying to me. I love this country.
Are more popular now in Ohio than the day they won the state in a landslide. Any protest in Ohio is a waste of time as Ohioans stand with our president.
When they say that they're more popular than ever, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Look at the people that are out here today in this very cold weather. And we'll be out here every time that there's a time to do it. We'll be out here protesting.
We are watching the beginning of something that does not look good or feel good in the United States of America. Let me know your feelings of what's going on in the country in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. And please be safe and be kind. Show love to each other and love yourself. Love God first. Thank you.